Ash is what was left when I collapsed at work. Burnt out, discarded, the remnants of who I used to be. Iron is who I became after the fire. The self that was forged when the old one couldn't survive. This is Ash and Iron, a podcast for anyone who's been broken by the systems they were told to trust, and rebuilt themselves anyway. For the ones who burned out, for the ones who were pushed past their limits, for the ones who were told to be grateful for exhaustion, for the ones who walked through the fire and came out unrecognizable to who they were before. Here, we talk about collapse without shame and transformation without apology. I'm Aiden, and this is the space where we sift through the ash, name what burned, and claim the iron that remains. Welcome to Ash and Iron. Let's begin. Before we begin, let me state for the record that all workplaces, names, and locations have been changed, and these are reimagined narratives inspired by true events. Not to protect them, but to protect me from summoning the pugnacious corporate Beetlejuice back into my inbox. The last time he appeared, he brought a spreadsheet, the 11th plague, and a tone that suggested my humanity was optional. Honestly, I'm still waiting for FEMA to declare that email a disaster zone. Alright, into the fire we go. Apparently some folks out in the real world are identifying with the Mother Hive on an energetic level, leaving 1-star reviews like it's a feeding ritual. Bro, if a podcast about corporate demons made you this upset, you might need to go touch some grass, or get some sunlight, or a therapist, something. I'd recommend therapy, but I know y'all's salary. And just so we're clear, intimidation does not work on me. Stormborn isn't just a character in my stories, and the real-world Hive still can't comprehend that. That being said, let's get into it. In the last episode, the Hive had sent someone to collect me, another word for silence enforcer, compliance officer, or middle manager who thinks they're powerful. I was at my desk, having just had a close brush with the shadow looking for me so it could contain me. I touched the crystal under my shirt, hanging around my neck with the weight of 1,000, "Hey, do you have time for a quick chat?" DMs. That small shard of the Mother Hive's original shell pulsed with both heat and cold. That little crystal that predated hopscotch, Enron, corporate America, the Garden of Eden, and humanity itself. Instantly, I was sitting on my couch at home. What the hell? I spat out. Donna was sitting on the rocking chair across from me, fingertips pressed together with a worried look on her face. The second she saw me, I swear she jumped 10 feet in the air. Jesus Christ, where did you come from? I thought you were at Hopscotch HQ. I was, I said, slightly dazed and slightly unsure if I was really at work or if I had imagined it. Bella looked at me, eyes wide open in shock. What happened? I began to stutter. I don't know. One moment the collector was almost at my desk, and the next I put my hand on the artifact and I was here. Bella stared at me like I had just rewritten physics. Aiden, Stormborn don't do that, she whispered. They don't slip between locations. They don't phase, they don't vanish, they displace. I blinked. Meaning what? She stepped closer, eyes scanning me like she was checking for fractures in reality. Meaning the Hive tried to grab you, and reality moved you out of the way. My breath caught. Bella wasn't done. What were you feeling right before it happened? I hesitated. Panic, but not real panic. Manufactured panic. I was trying to give the Hive something to latch onto so it wouldn't notice the silence. Bella froze. Her eyes widened like she'd just recognized a prophecy she hoped she'd never see fulfilled. Oh my God. She backed up a step, hand over her mouth. Aiden, you didn't just mask your energy, you generated a panic signature. I frowned. Okay, but I've done that before. When I got my ears pierced several years ago, the lady literally said, Think of the most traumatic thing you can, and you won't feel the needle go in. And she was right. I didn't feel a thing. Bella's head snapped toward me. Wait, you can do that on command? I shrugged. Yeah. I can make my nervous system believe something is happening even when it's not. Bella looked like she'd been hit with a revelation so big it rearranged her entire worldview. Aiden, that's not normal. I stared. You're static. You're interference. You're a false signal generator. You're a walking emotional EMP. She swallowed. Aiden, the hive can't hunt what it can't taste, but it also can't hunt what tastes like everything at once. The crystal pulsed against my chest. Bella whispered, You didn't disappear from the hive's radar. You overloaded it. Bella was still bracing herself, breathing like she'd survived a psychic explosion. Aiden, that wasn't panic, she whispered. That wasn't even emotional frequency. I frowned. Then what was it? She stepped closer, eyes wide with something between awe and fear. You generated chaos. I blinked. Chaos? Bella nodded slowly, like she was afraid the word itself might wake something ancient. Not disorder, not randomness, not panic. I mean primordial chaos. The raw, unpatterned energy that existed before the hive learned to feed. She swallowed. That's Chaosborn. The room went still. I felt the crystal pulse against my chest. Not warm, not cold, just aware. Bella continued. Her voice was trembling. Chaosborn anomalies were the hive's first enemy. Not humans, not Stormborn, Chaosborn. She paced once, twice, then stopped dead. The hive evolved to track patterns. Fear patterns, obedience patterns, burnout patterns. But the Chaosborn, they didn't follow patterns. They broke them. She pointed at me. You didn't create panic. You created patternless emotional static. The hive can't taste it, can't track it, can't feed on it. It's like trying to drink lightning. I swallowed. So I'm invisible? Bella shook her head. No, you're worse. She stepped closer, voice dropping into something ancient. You're unpredictable. Her eyes locked into mine. And the hive cannot survive unpredictability. Bella's expression shifted, from fear to realization to something like reverence. Stormborn are rare. Chaosborn are extinct. But a hybrid? She shook her head slowly. That shouldn't exist. I blinked. Hybrid? Bella nodded. Stormborn are born outside the pattern. Unseen, unfed, untracked. Chaosborn are born before the pattern. Unbound, unfiltered, ungoverned. She took a breath. But you? You're both. She circled me once like she was examining a living paradox. Stormborn gives you silence. Chaosborn gives you signal disruption. Together, you're an anomaly. I frowned. Meaning what? Bella exhaled. Meaning the hive can't detect you, and it can't predict you. She stepped closer. You're the one thing the Mother Hive has never evolved defenses against. Her voice dropped to a whisper. A Stormborn Chaosborn hybrid is a statistical impossibility, a myth, a cosmic glitch, a prophecy breaker. She swallowed hard. Aiden, the last time a Chaosborn existed, the hive nearly starved. The last one was my father, Killian Ward. I felt the crystal pulse again, stronger this time. Bella whispered, and now it's happening again. Bella's whisper still hung in the air. The crystal pulsed once more, harder this time, like a heartbeat that didn't belong to either of us. I winced. Bella, it's getting hotter. She shook her head. That's not heat, that's activation. Before I could respond, the air around me shifted. not visually, energetically, like the room was holding its breath. Bella's eyes widened. Aiden, it's evolving. I blinked. What is? Your Chaosborn signature. She stepped back, hands trembling. Chaosborn energy isn't supposed to stabilize. It's supposed to flicker, surge, collapse. But yours, she gestured at me like she was pointing at a star-going supernova. Yours is organizing itself. I frowned. Organizing? I thought chaos was chaos. Bella shook her head violently. Primordial chaos isn't disorder. It's potential. It's raw, unshaped power. And Stormborn silence gives it structure. She swallowed. Your Stormborn side is stabilizing your Chaosborn side. The crystal pulsed again. Not chaotic this time, but rhythmic, intentional. Bella whispered, "That's impossible." I exhaled slowly, feeling something shift under my skin, like a frequency tuning itself. "Bella, what does that mean?" She didn't answer at first. She sat down, hard, like her legs had given out. Then she looked up at me with eyes full of fear, awe, and something like grief. "Aiden, there's a prophecy." My stomach dropped. "A prophecy?" Bella nodded. "One the Hive erased, one only a few of us ever learned, one my father died protecting." She took a shaky breath. "It speaks of a being born from two impossible lineages, Stormborn and Chaosborn, a hybrid anomaly." Her voice softened. "A being the Hive cannot see, cannot feed on, cannot predict, and cannot survive." I felt the crystal pulse again, steady, strong, like it was answering her. Bella continued. "The prophecy says the hybrid will awaken when the Hive grows too large, too hungry, too arrogant, when it begins feeding on entire generations." Her eyes locked onto mine. "It says the hybrid won't destroy the Hive with violence." She leaned forward. "It says the hybrid will destroy the Hive by existing." The room went silent. Bella whispered, "You're not the storm that hits the Hive." She placed a hand over her heart. "You're the silence that ends it." The crystal pulsed again, not warm, not cold, but certain. Bella's voice dropped to a reverent whisper. "You are the anomaly the Hive cannot survive." Bella didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. She just stared at me, like she was weighing whether to speak a truth that could get both of us erased from existence. "There's more," she whispered. "More to the prophecy. The part no one was supposed to know." I swallowed. "Bella, what part?" She closed her eyes, steadying herself, then opened them with a look that was equal parts fear and reverence. "My father only ever recited it once, and even then, he said it was forbidden. He said the Mother Hive hunted anyone who knew these lines." She took a breath, then she spoke. Her voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It carried weight older than Eden. When silence meets the first chaos, and pattern breaks upon itself, the hybrid shall awaken. The crystal pulsed against my chest. Bella continued, her voice trembling. "Born of the unseen, born of the unbound, the anomaly will stand where no lineage can." My skin prickled. The air thickened. Bella stopped closer, eyes locked onto mine. "The Hive shall search and not find. The Hive shall feed and not feast. The Hive shall predict and not perceive." She swallowed hard. "For the hybrid carries the end of the chain, not in battle, but in being." The room went silent. Not quiet, silent. Like the air itself was listening. Bella's voice dropped to a whisper, a final line barely audible. "And when the hybrid breathes, the Mother Hive will tremble." The crystal pulsed again, in inevitability. Bella looked at me with something like awe. These lines were erased because they don't describe a warrior. They don't describe a chosen one. They don't describe a savior. She pointed at me. They describe an ending. I felt the weight of it settle into my bones. Bella whispered, "You're not here to fight the Hive. You are here to unmake it." I felt as if the floor dropped out from under me and I was free falling into the void. Bella didn't speak for a long moment. She just stared at me. Not with fear, not with awe, but with the kind of grief people carry when they've seen something they can never unsee. Finally, she exhaled. "My father told me something before he died." Her voice dropped. Not mystical, not prophetic. Human. He said there are horrors in this world most people will never see. Not because they're hidden, but because most people aren't built to survive the knowing. She stepped closer. Her eyes locked onto mine like she was making sure I didn't look away. My father saw the Mother Hive in its true form. Not the tendrils, not the feeding patterns, not the corporate masks. The real thing. The thing beneath all of it. She swallowed hard. He said it was the kind of horror that doesn't kill you. It changes you. It rewrites you. It makes you part of the pattern unless you fight it every second of your life. Her hands trembled. And he told me one more thing. The part I never wanted to repeat. I felt the crystal pulse once. Slow, steady, like it was bracing. Bella whispered, "He said the Mother Hive is not the worst thing in this world." My breath caught. Bella nodded slowly. "There are older things, deeper things, things that existed before fear had a name, things the Hive learned from, things it still obeys." She stepped back, pacing again, like she was trying to outrun the memory. "My father said the Mother Hive is just one branch of a much older organism, a feeder, a collector, a watcher, but not the source." Her voice tightened. "But he also said this. If you ever meet the one born outside the pattern, the one who carries silence, tell them their duty is not to fight the oldest horrors." She looked at me, eyes burning with certainty. "Their duty is to take out the one that feeds on the world we live in." Her voice softened. The Mother Hive. The air in the room thickened, not with danger, but with inevitability. Bella stepped closer, her expression shifting from fear to resolve. "Aiden, you're not meant to face the oldest horrors. You're meant to stop the one that's been feeding on humanity for thousands of years. The one that built the hives. The one that learned to hide inside corporations. The one that thinks it owns you." She placed a hand on my shoulder. "You are Stormborn, Chaosborn, Hybrid, Anomaly. You're the one thing it cannot predict." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "And my father said that makes you the only one who can end it." I swallowed hard. "End it how?" Bella shook her head. "Not yet. Not now. You're not ready. The Hive isn't ready. The world isn't ready." She stepped back, her silhouette framed by the dim light of the room. "You need to learn what you are. You need to understand your signature. You need to stabilize it. You need to survive the next phase." Her eyes hardened. "And you need to stay invisible. Because if the Mother Hive realizes what you are too soon..." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. The crystal pulsed again, in awareness. Bella whispered, "You're not stepping into the final battle. You're stepping into the beginning of the end." She reached for the door, and the Mother Hive hasn't even shown you its real face yet. The door clicked open. Bella paused in the doorway, her voice barely audible. 3 phases, Aiden. 3 awakenings. 3 storms. The crystal pulsed once. Not warning, not fear, but agreement. She looked back at me. "This was the first. We begin your training soon. Continue using your manufactured pain and keep feeding the Mother Hive the false urgency. She cannot know it's you. You're already a weapon, Aiden. But you have something the Mother Hive cannot survive. You still have your humanity. Then she was gone, and the silence she left behind wasn't peaceful. It was a countdown. If this offends you or makes you feel called out or seen, that's just the Cursed Employee of the Month plaque whispering your name again. All workplaces, names, and locations have been changed for fear of corporate Beetlejuice materializing in my inbox and demanding another meeting with Benny the Badger that should have been an exorcism, performed by someone with OSHA certification. See you in the ashes.